We've got a huge Inside the NRL coming your way. Phil Gould begins his tenure as General Manager of football today, but how long will it take Gus to make the Bulldogs great again? Terrific Tiger Adam Doueihi joins us, fresh off his starring role against the Broncos. He helps preview Wild West's Tales of Tiger Town ahead of tonight's airing on Fox League. The race for the final two spots in the top 8 heats up, but who will be there come September? And can Anthony Milford help Parramatta's premiership push?
Hello and welcome to Inside the NRL. Yes, plenty going on. Operation Relocation, big tick. One round down in Queensland. We'll find out shortly how many to go. I'm Zac Bailey, joined by 2010 Premiership winner in Jamie Soward and 6-time grand finalist Michael Chammas. How many wins in your grand finals as a rugby league junior?
Look, I haven't got a very good record actually. We'll just leave it at that. Haven't won a grand final in any. Well, that's a lie. One cricket grand final, lost 10 others. Disgraceful. All
right, 0-6. That left egg on Michael's face. It's back this week. What left egg on these guys' faces? I'll actually start with you today, Michael. What left egg on your face in round 18?
Oh, it gave Manly absolutely no chance without Tommy, without Jake, without Daly Cherry Evans. I thought they would be no match for the Dragons and understrength Dragons, but egg on the face. It's... Geez, they were good Manly without their main three players there, and that right side's looking good at the moment.
And that performance would have frustrated Des, what they dished up against the Raiders.
Yeah, the Raiders. That was
at home, you know, and like Oliver Cartu, you know, that man on screen, Rob, like they've just been able to get the best out of those guys, and then they dished that up. So we're expecting a bit of a lashback, and we got that from the Manly Seagulls.
Vintage Kieran Foran, it was great to watch.
Man, hard to watch.
Hard to watch.
I've played against Kieran, and yeah, I love watching the great playmakers, you know, do their thing, but it was hard to watch.
Okay, who left egg on your face, Sowie?
The Queensland teams. Seriously. They're not going to make the 8. None of them are going to make the 8 again. They're diabolical over the weekend. The Cowboys, they start fast, and then some games you feel like they're going to go on and they're a really good team at home. The Titans... immature is how you sum them up, and then the Broncos yesterday. See, the Titans and Broncos, they should nearly go through undefeated in this little bubble life because they haven't had to. I know they've had to relocate out of their house, but in terms of playing at home and feeling familiar with the stadium and everything, they should be way better than that. And the Queensland teams were awful on the weekend.
Seriously, this bloke for real. That's what left egg on your face after the weekend.
Yeah, because I tipped them. I tipped 2 out of the 3.
You've got a dozen or an omelette or whatever you got on your face. Do you remember what you tweeted on Wednesday night?
What did I tweet?
But you can't remember.
I can't.
Honestly,
I was on Twitter.
You disgraced yourself.
Set me up.
You ruined it for the whole state. I'll remind you. This is what you tweeted on Wednesday night.
Taking it 2, huh? You aren't beating the Blues 2-0. Go for it yourselves and go with some.
Go for it. Give yourselves some confidence.
They won by 2 points.
Yeah.
That's egg. That's an omelette.
That's all right. I get some wrong. I'm happy to admit it.
That's it. Well, I've just helped you admit it.
I think I got rid of that tweet, actually.
Did you?
Did you?
You deleted
I think so,
Why is
yeah.
that?
Oh, it was taking up too much of my time. I was getting in tennis matches with pelicans out there. And, I turned into a pelican myself, so I've decided to ease up on the tweets. It's been a long week. I've been in lockdown for 5 days.
It's been a long week, and it's been a big week for the Bulldogs. We'll get to the signing of Gus Gould shortly, but a bizarre ending last night against the Rabbitohs. On the way to half-time, Lachie Lewis produced his best body slam of Cody Walker as he was walking to the ground. Here it is here if you haven't seen it. Bizarre scenes, Michael Chammas. Do we know what sparked that action from Lachie Lewis, which earned him 10 in the bin?
Yeah, apparently there was something said to Nick Meaney from Cody Walker that he took exception to Lachlan Lewis. And if you cast your mind back to Good Friday, there was a lot of bad blood between Cody Walker and the Bulldogs. There was that slam on Nick Meaney's the back of his head with the forearm from Cody Walker, which I think he got 1 week for at the time. He also started the fight with Kyle Flanagan, if you remember as well. So there's a little bit of bad blood between Cody Walker and the Bulldogs. Here's the incident on Good Friday. I think this was with Kyle Flanagan here, and then it started a little bit of an all-in brawl after that. So yeah, Cody Walker, they're in the same hotel at the moment as well on the Gold Coast. So I wonder how that went down when they returned last night.
Wouldn't have been fun, I don't think so. You got to be smiling.
Oh, seriously, this bloke started an all-in brawl from that.
On Good Friday.
Unbelievable. I thought it was idiotic from Lachlan Lewis. I actually like watching him play because of his off-the-cuff thinking and the way that he doesn't really play to structure, which troubles teams. And they were on top. At the moment, they go into half-time and the Souths are they're looking for some answers. Wayne's probably reminding them they're making too many mistakes. But for Lachlan Lewis to do that, and the other question I want to know, boy, why isn't that a penalty? If you're going to have 10 in the bin, I don't think I've ever in the game seen someone sent to the bin for 10 minutes without a penalty.
So what do you want to start the second half with a penalty?
Well, why not?
Go for two.
Why not?
Start the half.
Why not? Explain to me why not.
All right, I'll get on to Graham Annesley and ask him why not. But Lockie Lewis was fined $1,600 today for contrary conduct. So 10 in the bin and $1,600. All right, in good news for the Bulldogs, on Friday night the club announced that Gus Gould would be returning to the club. He coached to a premiership back in 1988. He left his role with the Warriors effective immediately. His first day as General Manager of Football with Canterbury was today. Now, Michael, if we cast back a month, he said, no, I'm not going to the Bulldogs. And then if we go back to September last year, he said to Trent Barrett, don't go there, it's a toxic culture at the club. What on earth has happened since September to change the narrative for him to now be the head of their football department? Because it's a big move. Yeah,
it is. And look, a month ago, the situation was quite different. With COVID at the moment, obviously he'd been in New Zealand a couple of times as part of his job with the Warriors there. So he was expecting to see that out in full and develop the pathway system that they hired him to do. Things have changed, obviously, in the last month, made it very difficult. There's probably no light at the end of the tunnel at the moment in regards to what he can or can't do with the Warriors. And the Bulldogs have been chasing someone since January, since December last year. They went after Peter Parr from the Cowboys and got knocked back, and they went after Gus, and obviously the situation at the time wasn't right. And then they made another phone call because perhaps this was the right time given the situation we're in. And I think it's a great, great fit for the Bulldogs. I think he spoke a month or so ago at the luncheon about what it takes to be a Bulldog, and I think he said to people that you guys have forgotten what it is to be a Bulldog, and that resonated with some people at the sports luncheon. I think Steve Hansen was there at the time, and he's obviously such a revered figure in the game. He's done such a magnificent job with the Penrith Panthers, and regardless of how it finished, he set that club up in a way that has allowed them to do what they have done now, and the Bulldogs could only hope that he could do half the job he did with Penrith that he's managed to do. Yeah, a great job with the Panthers. The infamous or famous 5-year plan. It probably took 10 years to develop Penrith into a genuine premiership contender. How long will it take Gus to rebuild the Bulldogs? It's going to take a little while. Yeah, they're still a way off. I know they've recruited well for next year, but they're still coming last in the competition. So I think the important thing, I echo Chammas's words. Gus is an important hire, one of the smartest people I've ever had the pleasure of talking to about rugby league. He had a lot of help out there at Penrith as well in terms of getting those young guys through. Jim Jones, Matty Cameron helped bring the next crop through. So he's going to have some stuff in place, which I think starts taking the next part to the level. Whether they become a premiership contender in the next 5 years, I don't know, but they need to start going forward in terms of getting some key marquee players to the club. Yeah, a big kill, a free agent. If he was somewhere able to get a Josh Hodgson, that's a big kill. That takes you into, that's like Gus has come to the club, bang, he gets Josh Hodgson. So Josh Hodgson has to be the Bulldogs' first signing under Phil Gould. Yeah. On the field, it has to be a big kill because you can have all the pieces that you like, and they've got Josh Addo-Carr. They've recruited last year with Corey Allen, Kyle Flanagan, all those guys, but they need a big playmaking kill to be helped to bring the next crop through. Look, I think the thing you got to recognise with Canterbury, which is significantly different to Penrith, is that whenever something went wrong at Penrith, if you didn't get a recruitment decision right, the next kid was coming through. They had such a good junior nursery that it didn't necessarily matter if the Matt Moylan experiment didn't work or the Bryce Cartwright didn't work. There was always someone else. He won't get that. Separate it, on field and off. Off field, he's going to put into place. Same with the Warriors. Well, he might not have that with the juniors there. The juniors will be fine. They're big enough, that area. He just has to develop a base like Penrith did, where it be up in the mountains or out Tubbo. That's going to be his legacy. Okay, let's take a look at what Gus helped set up in terms of moving Penrith's focus from Penrith catchment area out west, and they went bush. The likes of Isaiah Yeo, Charlie Staines, Matt Burton, Liam Martin, Brent Naden. He won't have that at Canterbury.
so he's going to find it harder.
Well,
No, but a lot of clubs don't have it because we don't have a national reserve grade competition. The kids aren't playing at the moment. These kids all came through playing it. He's going to have to go get his recruitment team, his development team, and the HBU, whatever else. They're going to have to implement some plans. And you have a smart thinker like Gus who's going to be able to say, right, let's go to this area, let's send some troops out, try and go to this area, get them interested in the Bulldogs because everyone wants to go to Penrith now because they're young up and comings, but that team will be together for 4 or 5 years if they can keep the cap together. But I'm saying on field next year they need to see some improvement because if they get the back line next year and they still come last, the pressure's going to build on Trent Barrett, then you're going to have to start putting out spot fires everywhere. You need to see a little bit of success and development on the field as well.
He might be limited to what he can do because they spent a lot of money on the recruits they've got so far and they might even land Tavita Pangai Jr., which hamstrings them with...
I'm hearing that's done. Is it done?
Not quite yet. They're waiting on discussions this evening with the Broncos in regards to his payout and his termination there. And
who does Tavita want to go to?
Well,
West
Tigers or Bulldogs? It's Tigers or Bulldogs. Look, he's obviously two teams that have struggled in recent years, so it's a matter of where he wants to go to, and hopefully we'll get a decision one way or another tonight.
All right, when Gus arrived at Penrith back in 2011, he had a very hands-on approach in Ivan Cleary's first stint at the club. Will he have that next year with the Bulldogs? And how will Trent Barrett react to that? Because it is a voice, over his shoulder, but how long will he want that voice to be the dominant voice for?
I think it'll be a partnership, if anything. Baz is a young up-and-coming coach still in his second opportunity with the Bulldogs, and he's going to be leaning on Gus for guidance. That's why he brought Steve Hansen in. He's asking for some guidance here to help rebuild a club. This isn't a premiership contender where he can go to Gus and ask him, what do we need to do here? He's going to have some guidance in player form, player recruitment, all that kind of stuff. So I think he'll have a hands-on approach from the recruitment side of things, obviously, but more or less just helping Baz get through some of those hard times that he's had to experience this year because Gus has been there. Gus has helped, Penrith in 2011. He got me to the club. He sold me on the HBU out there that they've got, which is state of the art, all that kind of stuff. And then, the next crop of juniors have come through, and you'll see how successful they are right now. So I don't think it'll be hands-on day to day, but he'll be there if Baz needs him.
Michael, you had in your Sydney Morning Herald article and column this morning that it could be the dream team between Steve Hansen, Rugby, and Phil Gould, League. Is it going to be the dream partnership, or could it be too many cooks spoiling the broth?
Yeah, I'll take your point on that. I'm sure Canterbury will take that into consideration as well. So Steve Hansen, at the moment, is a consultant there. He went in last month. He spent 10 days with the Bulldogs, and that's his only involvement because of COVID, face-to-face involvement with the club. Now, my understanding, I spoke to Aaron Warburton, the CEO of the Bulldogs. He's off contract in October there, Hansen. They're trying to extend him and expand his role within the club to have more of a hands-on role day to day. Now, what that means with Phil Gould is yet to be seen. Now, they may clash, they may work there, they may come together and form the dream team, as you mentioned, as I wrote about today. There's no doubt they are two big personalities, and sometimes that doesn't work. However, for the good of Canterbury, this might just be the thing that Gus alone puts them on the map.
I was going to say, you don't bring Phil Gould in if you think that that's going to spoil too many cooks. You bring Phil Gould in as the cream to the cake and to make sure that we're going in the right direction.
Okay, speaking of direction, 13 NRL teams based in Victoria, the ACT in New South Wales, headed north as part of Operation Relocation last week. That was a success, but there's been a halt in terms of getting families of Sydney-based players up to Queensland. Michael, they were meant to go last Saturday. Has there been an update? Is there an update?
They are still working with the families to get them up later this week, towards the end of the week. The NRL and the Queensland government have been discussing ways to obviously... My understanding of the situation last week was the Queensland government obviously received a bit of blowback on the players and families coming up when people have been trying to get exemptions to get into the state, which is understandable. So they are making all the families apply individually rather than as one group associated with the NRL. They're going through all that paperwork now. So the aim is to get the families up there later this week. They can do the 14 days in a separate hotel, and once their time is up, they can reunite with the players. So that's the update at the moment. Nothing confirmed as of yet, but looking good for the families.
Sowie, if you're a player and you thought one day your family was coming on a plane, and you find out the next day that they're not, and then you don't know now, 4 or 5 days later, that when they're going to come up, how would that affect you given you're already away from home for an unpredictable amount of time? They don't know when they're coming home yet.
Yeah, and I can understand that and sympathise with it. but you still have a job to do, and your job is to go out there and win football games, and that doesn't change whether you're at home or not. And I understand a lot of people need their family with them to be able to help function with playing rugby league, but I just hope the families are safe, because it's going to be a lot of pressure on those partners of the players to go into a hotel quarantine with kids for 14 days. That's mentally strong. We're at home right now with 2 kids, and it's mentally hard. So I think that the players will be okay and get through it. They have the outlet of going to games and doing all that kind of stuff, but they'll just want their family to be safe. I think if they can get them up there, get them up there. But we also need to be reminded that there's other people out there that are worse off, that are, like Michael has said, having to deal with not being able to go to Queensland to see loved ones and people that are ill. So I hope it gets done, but it might take a little bit longer.
All right, Michael, it was initially announced that these teams would be up there for 4 weeks. Do we know when the NRL will announce an extension to that? Because if families are only arriving in a couple of weeks, I dare say they won't be coming back after 3 more weeks of footy.
No, that's right. If you take in consideration, they'll probably leave at the end of the week, add on 14 more days, that's 3 weeks away before they actually get out. So it's hard to imagine they'd be going through all this effort if they were coming back in the next month. So, look, I think, and I've spoken to a lot of clubs, that they are planning for this season to be finished in Queensland, play the final series there, and have the grand final at Suncorp. Maybe take it on the road, go to the highest bidder, Melbourne, who knows. But I don't think this is coming back to be played here.
If we play the grand final, not in Sydney, anywhere else but Suncorp, I probably won't watch it.
All right, on Saturday morning I woke up to read the Sydney Morning Herald and read hashtag Chammas Confidential, the first edition. When's the second edition coming out, and what's in it?
Having a little bit of fun with the hotel feuds, who doesn't get along with who in each hotel. Had a bit of fun with it, mate.
I enjoyed it. All right.
Did you?
Yes.
I don't think you subscribed. Maybe you should subscribe. You'll be able to read it.
Please. Anyway, moving on. How many gigs do you have? With the 2021 State of Origin Series won and done by New South Wales, our focus is fully back on the NRL and the remaining 6 weeks of the regular season before finals, 7 weeks before finals. Let's take a look at how the ladder stands and find out who is going to make the top 8 and play finals footy. So the Storm are leading the way with 14 straight wins. Incredible, really. At the other end of the scale, it's the Bulldogs trying to avoid the wooden spoon in a battle with the Broncos. The top 6, they've opened up a bit of a gap on the rest. So let's focus on 7th, your Dragons, Sowie, all the way through to 13th, with only 4 points separating those teams. Of the teams currently outside the top 8, how many are still in the race for the finals?
Yeah, well, you've got to take into consideration a couple of things. Obviously, the draw over the next month. The Raiders have a pretty tough draw. Newcastle have some winnable games. The Titans have some winnable games, and so do the West Tigers. So they could go on a bit of a run, but their for and against is terrible. So I would probably say going off just off the weekend's form, but I am concerned about their injury toll as the Raiders, Jack Whiten, because they do have that kind of style that could, Ricky could get them on a run, and the Knights. But again, the Newcastle Knights, seriously.
So you've got 10 teams in the race?
I've got 10 teams in the race,
Chammas?
I'll probably say, given the Tigers' draw, I'd say 1 to 12. 7 to 12 are in the race for that last 2 spots.
Okay, realistically, Sowie, of those teams, who snares the final 2 spots in 6 weeks?
None. The 8 stays the exact same way as it is right now. The Dragons and Sharks will probably jostle for that 7th and 8th, who finishes 7th and 8th, and then you'll see maybe the Sea Eagles go on a bit of a run and finish 5th or 6th, depending on how they go towards the back end. If they can't chase the top 4, I think you'll see Tommy get a rest, maybe Kieran Foran get a rest, but the top 3 or top 4 is almost settled. I think the top 8's done.
Michael, agree?
Yeah, I see the Raiders making it. I don't know which team misses out, Dragons or Sharks. The Dragons, seriously.
You're not brave enough to say Dragons.
Oh no, I'm brave enough. That was so disappointing on the weekend. I had high hopes after the first few rounds, thinking that things were going good. I just don't know. As a Dragons fan, you scratch your head thinking that performance.
Okay, regardless of who makes those bottom 2 spots, could either of them upset, say, a Roosters in first week of the finals if they're battered with?
Nah, they're just delaying their holiday for a week.
You know what? The Roosters have been. I think if you got the Roosters first week and you were the Sharks or the Dragons, and that was 8th, or even the Raiders, that's probably the game that it would be upset the most. No one's upsetting Manly. I think they might be heading to a big prelim.
Okay, all right. Rugby league fans are in for an absolute treat this evening as episode 1 of Wild West Tales of Tiger Tan airs on Fox League and Kayo at 7:30 p.m. Earlier today, I was lucky enough to speak to their gun 5'8", Adam Doueihi, who gave rare insight into this documentary.
1, 2, 3,
Why do I love rugby league?
Get out! No!
Shut the curtain for me.
Some of you guys need to look in the mirror. Go! Yes!
Where we end up will be determined by how hard we want to do things every single day.
Every moment of this for each other.
The West Tigers are always in a game.
Adam, thanks so much for joining us for a chat on Inside the NRL. We can't wait to watch this series, but as a player who features in this series, how are you looking forward to watching this?
Yeah, it's going to be a bit strange, I guess. The camera's obviously been following us throughout the season so far, and it's obviously going to give, I guess, people and viewers a good insight into how an NRL club is run from inside the four walls. And to be honest, me personally, I'm looking forward to it. I was sort of mic'd up in a few of the training sessions and on game day and stuff, and I guess just to watch it back as a player and observe myself, and I'm sure it'll be very interesting viewing.
Obviously, there's a fair bit of media attention on players these days. You have to do media every couple of weeks. But what was it like having cameras following you day in, day out inside that inner sanctum of your club?
Yeah, I guess on the field it wasn't too bad. I guess cameras are usually watching us on the field, and although at times there was different players mic'd up and stuff like that, which was a bit different. But yeah, I guess inside the gym and in a few of our meetings and stuff, it was a bit different. And I don't know if players sometimes were hesitant to say some stuff or not, but most of the stuff is, I guess, pretty truthful. And yeah, we try to make it as, I guess, raw as possible, and everything that's seen in our video clips, in our review sessions, in our gym sessions, and I guess on the training paddock is what we do week in, week out, and on a daily basis. And yeah, it should be, I guess, very interesting viewing.
Now, we know that West Tigers fans can be an unforgiving bunch at the best of times. Do you think they'll view the players, the coaching staff, the club differently after watching this series?
A bit of a tough question for me. I think they will. We sort of talk about being this hard-working club, and Madge is always out in the public saying we're working hard at training, and results just don't seem to be going our way, and we're putting in the work. And I guess if Tigers fans watch this and I guess just really do see how hard we do work at training, and I guess how thorough our coaches and us players are when we watch video clips and have review sessions, how honest players and coaches can be accountable for their actions and where we need to improve, and how we practice it at training, and I guess how the leaders speak on the field and at the training paddock as well. And I guess, so if Tigers fans can sort of get a picture behind what Madge has been saying in the public and show how hard we do work at training, and I'm sure every other club does the same thing. And
Now, with every great series or Hollywood film, there has to be a star of the show. We know David Nofaluma loves the camera, but with no Benji Marshall, no Robbie Farah taking the limelight, who is the star of this new series?
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head there. I guess Nofa knows how to find a camera. You can see after his tries he scores, he's always looking at the camera and giving it sort of a stern look. And but yeah, he's obviously one that loves the camera. I'm a bit different. I don't really like the camera too much. And I guess another big one is Luciano Leilua. Obviously a very likeable character and gets very loud around the joint. And he's a very loud person. And I'm sure you'll see him feature in a few of the segments and at training and in the gym, and just see stuff he gets up to, I guess.
Now, we saw in the trailers for this series, your coach, Mike Maguire, didn't hold back at all. What was he like in the sheds? Did he hold back when you were trailing 18-10 at halftime against the Broncos?
No, to be honest, it was pretty calm, I guess, just during at halftime, although we were behind on the scoreline. I guess us as a senior playing group, me, Brooks and Jimmy Tamo did most of the talking. We were out there, we knew what the field was like out in the paddock, and me and Brooks spoke about our attack, and Jimmy sort of touched on our defence, and Madge gave us a few clear messages in attack and defence about where he wants us to be better and improve. And we knew that once we got into arm wrestle in the second half and just put some fatigue into them and kicked them to corners and made them come out of their own end, they didn't like that. And we knew we'd we scored some points when we got into the opposition 20. So, it was pretty calm changing room at half time, and Madge was calm and worked out well in the end.
Now, you had a great return to the 5/8 position, 5 try assists in that match. Are you confident you'll remain there for the rest of the year? Because you've made it publicly clear that you want to be the 5/8 for the West Tigers for the remainder of the year.
Yeah, I am confident, to be honest. I guess Madge has thrown me around in a few different positions now, and I guess I am that versatile type, and he likes to agitate the group when we don't get the results we were after, and me being a half back in the day, he saw me the change of centre to be beneficial for us, and I guess he's given me a second chance now, putting me back in the halves, and I just want to be really thorough with myself and have open conversations with Madge and be honest with him, and see where we can improve in attack and defence. And I'm glad we're able to ice some opportunities, me and Brooksy, that arose against the Broncos, and I'll look at my game today and see where I can be better in attack, and come next Saturday against Manly, look to, I guess, score some points against them as well.
So that win over the Broncos means you're only 1 win outside the top 8. With 6 weeks remaining, your coach, Michael Maguire, said yesterday you've had internal chats about where you want to be as a club in 6 weeks. What is the goal for the West Tigers this year?
Yeah, we sort of sat down, I guess, early last week when we first came into Brisbane, and spoke honestly as a group. We knew players, staff, our whole organisation is taking sacrifices. There's people in the front office back home that aren't in jobs at the moment, and we know people here are leaving their wives and kids behind, and we spoke about this being sort of a second chance for us this season, and sort of starting fresh. And we really spoke about, after this next 8 weeks, is making the sacrifice worthwhile for us. And if we can look back after 8 weeks and say that we've done the club, the organisation, our family's proud, and somehow end up in the top 8, it would be fantastic for us. And as I said, make the sacrifice worthwhile. So we're 1 from 1, I guess, in the bubble at the moment, and the more wins we can get along the way, the better position we're going to be come the end of the season.
And just away from footy and the series for a moment, a couple of years ago you made the decision for us to pronounce your last name as Doueihi and not Doueihi. But earlier this year, the likes of Josh Papali'i, Chans, Nickel Kluxter changed their names for us to pronounce them correctly. Have you had any inkling or any consideration to change it back to Doueihi?
Not really, to be honest. It's crossed my mind a bit, but I guess when I was growing up, I've sort of been called Doueihi and Doueihi. I've never really cemented one last name in, and coming over Lebanese heritage, they do say Doueihi in Lebanon, but being here in Australia, we just say Doueihi. So I guess us as a family, we're not too fussed, and we just decided to go with Doueihi because it's easier for the commentators. So I'm happy to just leave it at that.
Okay, well, Adam Doueihi, thank you so much for joining us on Inside the NRL. We can't wait to watch that series tonight. Best of luck against Manly on Saturday.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate it a lot. Thanks, guys.
Wild West Tales of Tiger Town. Front and centre will be coach Michael Maguire throughout that series. Michael Chammas, you've been one of his greatest critics. Will this series help the West Tigers fans and the critics understand him better?
Look, I think the West Tigers fans actually quite like Michael Maguire. My assessment from hearing a lot of the comments are that they think he's taking the club in the right direction. I think he is. However, my criticism's been that they're not able to improve the roster, and that's been my criticism. Can that improve with Michael Maguire still at the helm?
Results.
Well, results is obviously obviously at the forefront. They can't improve the roster when they can't get players there, and it's showing. But this series, I'm sure it'll do wonders for his image, and perhaps even with players, because players talk, and perception is sometimes reality. It might not be real, but that's how they feel about Michael Maguire in regards to recruitment. It might help him.
Sowie, you're a big fan of sports docos. We absolutely love them. Do you think this will be the start of a revolution of docos in rugby league?
Yeah, I think with the Titans sort of set the standard, and then NRL.com did the Dragons one not too long ago. So I think that the NFL have like a Hard Knocks sort of pre-season type documentary series that you could bring out every year that the fans would be interested in and craving that period of rugby league. But whether all the teams give access, we've seen 2 teams that aren't in the top 4 or competing for championships do it. I would prefer probably see Roosters Melbourne I'll watch that tonight, but Roosters Melbourne, I'm getting the popcorn out and making sure I sit down and definitely watch it.
Michael, if there was one series throughout the history of rugby league, what would you like to see documented in a series like that?
Probably something a bit more recently. The most fascinating thing I've ever covered was that coaching merry-go-round a few years back with Ivan, Wayne Bennett, Anthony Seibold, obviously Anthony Griffith at the time, and Wayne Bennett linked to Penrith. I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall in those conversations and heard what those meetings were like and how those decisions all came about. A lot of lies told, a lot of deception, and that would have been fascinating.
That's just in your article.
Hey? That was just in my article, correct.
Yours?
Are you proud of yourself?
Oh, look, yeah, whatever. I mean, yeah, some of those kangaroo tours, you know, hearing those old stories from me. But again, the successful teams, the back-to-back documentary of the Roosters and the Broncos, the similarities of what those teams had to go through, plus the bounce back from Melbourne in 2010, you know, the salary cap stuff, how they were able to rebuild and then become a powerhouse for the next 10 years.
Yeah, that's the one I'd want to see for sure. All right, the 2021 State of Origin series is over. The Blues, congratulations, winning 2-1. Boys, we've got to wrap this series up in 60 seconds. So no fence sitting today, Michael, okay?
Sorry?
That's right. All right, question one. From what you saw last Wednesday night, Queensland are closer to New South Wales than what you thought.
Yes, and they'll bring in Harry Grant and some players next year as well. I think they got the mix right. So yeah.
There's 20 seconds gone.
Yes.
Mitch Moses' performance helped or hindered his chances of playing Origin again?
Helped.
Hindered.
Paul Green will coach Queensland next year. If not, who does?
No, Cameron Smith.
No.
Whoa. Time out. Stop the timer. Now we can chat.
I said Billy Slater, but obviously there's been some stuff that's gone on there, so I think they'll ask Cameron Smith to do it.
Michael.
No, Wayne Bennett.
Wayne's not doing it.
What's he going to do next year? He's sitting around doing nothing.
Preparing for 2023, buddy.
Ben Hunt will be Queensland's starting hooker in 2022?
Yes.
Yes. Nah, miss. No. That's the next. It's yes or no. No, Harry Grant.
Ben Hunt will also be Queensland's captain in 2022?
No.
No.
Tom Trbojevic will be the Blues fullback in 2022?
No.
No.
Sam Walker will make his Origin debut next year?
No.
Yes.
Nice. And the Blues will win next year's series 3-0. 3-0?
Yes.
No.
Okay, we got there.
2-1.
I think it was about 2 minutes. But anyway, it's time now for this week's Casualty Award, brought to you by Chemist Warehouse. And sadly, it's a long list coming out of round 18 action. I'm sorry we jinxed you last week. The Warriors had a horror day on the injury front against the Panthers. It looks like they've lost Tohu Harris and Wade Egan for the season. Skipper Roger Tuivasa-Sheck will need to overcome the relevant testing this week to make sure he's sweet to go after his concussion. David Bowen, his season is also over after he suffered the dreaded ACL rupture. The Bunnies could be without the game's leading try scorer, Alex Johnston, for a month, while Campbell Graham and Liam Knight also failed their HIAs. In good news for Penrith, James Fisher-Harris has avoided scans on his knee, back and ribs after clashing with Viliami Kikau. Panthers coach Ivan Cleary could have Jerome Luai back from an ACL injury this week and suggested Nathan Cleary isn't too far away either. As his brother Daniel eyes a return, Jacob Saifidi could spend more time on the sidelines with an ankle injury. David Clemmer and Callum Ponga will both need a pass test ahead of round 19 after suffering head knocks. The list continues. Dale Finucane also picked up a head knock out of Saturday night's game. Jack Whiten will have to play through the pain if he's not sidelined with a sternum and rib issue, while Titans duo Philip Sami and Jamal Fogarty could miss some footy. And just a reminder, North Queensland's Valentine Holmes will miss a month of footy after injuring his shoulder in Origin 3. All right, we got there in the end. It's now time for Hit or Miss. There's some talk about him in the papers today. Anthony Milford will help a premiership push in 2021. Sowie.
Hit, I think it'd be great depth at Parramatta and provide, you know, if Dylan Brown or Mitch Moses go down, Will Smith I like in that utility role. He can come on and play in the middle, play at 9. But, yeah, I think that Anthony Milford still has something to give in the NRL.
Yeah, it's a hit from me. I just don't think it'll be at Parramatta, from my understanding. Look, it's very lukewarm interest from the Eels. I think there's some concerns around his physicality, his defence.
Yeah, but you're not picking him up right now to go into your team. He's there as the breaking
the thing is, Sal, and this is what you have to realise, is that You have to realise he's going to go in the cap.
I have to
He's going to go in the cap at full freight, regardless. Like, what are the Broncos going to chip in? Are they going to really pay for someone for the next 6 weeks? He's off their books soon. The reality of the situation, he has to be valued at a certain amount. The salary cap auditors won't allow the Eels to pick him up for $10.50 and do your best.
Is it hit or miss, champion?
Oh, you don't want to listen to my reasoning?
No.
I already said hit or miss.
Okay.
You
I'm
listen.
surprised with that reasoning that you said hit. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, that's
I think it'll be a good pickup,
You said hit and then
but
contradicted.
it's going to cost a lot of money.
Okay. Something needs to be done about blatant 6-again infringement, Sowie.
Hit, massive hit. Teams are giving it away. It's not even 6 to go, it's 1 to go. My solution is that if you do give 2 away in the same set, it's a penalty. And I think you'll even see one step further. You may lose a player to stand on the sideline or at the back of the in goal until that set is completed or until the team gains an advantage, a bit like touch footy. So we're just seeing teams take the at the moment, and they're able to get away with it. So massive hit for me. That will dominate the off-season, that rule, and how the coaches and referees and Peter V'landys come together and adjust that so that we're not seeing what we see right now.
I don't often like your suggestions, Sowie, but I like that one about someone behind the in goal. If you are the one if it's the second infringement in the set, then that person goes behind the line until they get the ball back. Basically, I think that's a good solution. I'm with Sowie.
Okay. Payne Haas is worth every cent of a $10 million deal. I'll go to you, Michael.
I think it's too long. I think 10 years is a long, long time, and 6 years, yeah, I'm comfortable with that. I think he's the best prop in the game. Second best. I think Fisher Harris is actually number 1 in the game, but he'll get there. It's just, to me, it's a risky business. Do you need to take that risk? Do you not get him if you give him 5 or 6 years? It sounds good, it looks good for your fans, but, geez, you're just asking for trouble.
I think if you're paying Haas, why not sign 3 years at 3.5 or something like that? And
Yeah.
I get the security, but it's Kevy Walters. I don't know if Kevy will be there in 10 years to see it out. So it's nice to say 10-year deal, but it's the Broncos board that have to come up with it. I'd have 6 years, 6.2.
So it's a double miss.
Yep.
Nico Hines.
6 years, 6.2. That's very specific.
Yeah.
Maybe he's Payne Haas's manager. We just don't know it yet. Nico Hines. What's your cut? Nico Hines won't be playing 5'8" for the Sharks in 2022, Sowie.
Hit. I think that they'll probably play him at 7 or 1. I don't think they'll play him at 6. So Matt Moore will have that role there, it's going to be interesting to see how Craig Fitzgibbon manages that, because I think he's one of the probably top fullbacks in the game at the moment. And he's got so much time. He ball plays down the short side. He's got a kicking game and he goal kicks. So whether that translates, he has played halves his whole life and turned into a fullback. But yeah, I think miss.
Yeah, I'm with Sowie. I think he'll be playing the number 7.
He's going to be playing halfback for the Sharks next year.
Yeah, I think that's what Fitzgibbon's plan is at this stage, unless he can find a number 7. But he's let go of Sean Johnson.
He's got Trindle.
He's got Trindle.
I actually like Trindle. I don't know what it means for Will Kennedy, but I actually like Trindle, Moylan and Hines with Brayley. I think that's maybe Kennedy can go into the centres or something like that. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And on the back of the Maroons' win in Origin 3 last week, Phil Gould, we spoke about him off the top of the show, but here was his suggestion about upcoming Origin series moving forward. Perhaps we make them best of 5-game series. Series ends with team when they win 3 games. That way, we're always guaranteed at least 3 games. Winners get to celebrate and receive the shield straight after a 3rd win. 2021 series would still be alive with Queensland on the rise. Just thinking. So with that in mind, State of Origin should be a best of 5 series.
Miss.
Michael.
Well, funny you show that tweet. I haven't seen that before. He's blocked me on Twitter, the great Gus. So
Aren't you on 100% footy?
I'm on the show with him.
Awkward.
Oh, yeah, we get along. But yeah, block me on Twitter. So I haven't seen that, but I don't really like that idea either, to be honest. So I just think the competition just can't afford to be stopped for 5 games. You imagine the blow up from the clubs.
Oh, the clubs would be filthy. Yeah, miss for me.
I think journos wear that as a badge of honour, Gus blocking them.
Yeah. I think it was accidental.
Oh, please.
Ask him on air
Slip on the
tonight.
keyboard.
Ask him on air tonight.
All right, time for Champ and Chump. Sowie, it's your week. What have you come up with?
Yeah, my Chump this week is... my Champ.
Champs.
Champ
Let's go
first
Champ.
is the $1 Million Ball Boys. I love this. I'm actually quite jealous seeing so much talent on the sidelines. Look at Jake Trebojevic there. Is there a nicer guy who loves rugby league more? Mitch Moses probably needs to get the mask up around the beak a little bit more. But it's great seeing the guys involved and doing it. Latrell Mitchell, he celebrated the try last night, so I love seeing that. I think it's important for the kids out there to still show that the boys want to do it. They could just sit there, but they want to do it.
Maybe the 18th man should do it every week. I like it.
Yeah.
Keep yourself warm before you get on. It's good.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, have a week next week.
This is my segment. Chump. Look, I know that haircuts. Look at me. I'm Tom Hanks off Castaway at the moment, as we all are. But Dylan Brown. I know that is just it's horrendous.
I think they're calling it high tide.
I don't know what they're calling it. He's a good-looking cat.
That's standard
But
out west, mate.
He's gone from
more often.
He's gone from a 9 to a 7.5 in my ratings of hotness. I can't take the haircut, but he played good on the weekend.
He did. All right, they're great suggestions, but this is my segment.
Okay.
Yours. All right. I don't know how you went past him. He's one of your favourite players. He's the biggest personality in the game. Brandon Smith, Champ Cheese.
Oh, I love
all right,
this.
we need to
People know
roll the
where we're
tape
going.
here because he is the biggest smartass in the game. Also, this is the coach's bag, Craig Bellamy, filling it with rocks when he got onto the team bus, and then afterwards he goes, "Hey, coach, here's your bag." And guess what? Believe it or not, because there's so many rocks in it, Craig couldn't pick it up. So Sowie, back to the old era he is here. He would be filthy.
Look at Josh Adokahio. I laughed. I watched this about 6 times today. It's good fun.
So, and here he is trying to explain the case. No, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. It was the Fox. It was the Fox.
It was.
So, back to the way this segment used to run before I hijacked it. Is he the champ or the chump? Chump cheese or champ cheese?
He's the champ. He might be a double champ cheese later in the year. Yeah. Great content. I love that.
He could be melted cheese by the end of that. He could be on the bench this week.
Oh, please. Is Harry Grant back?
I don't know.
All right, don't forget NRL teams, 3 champions will be there tomorrow on this set right here. 3:55 p.m. Brett Camorley, Robbie Farah and Neve Owens will bring you all the latest team news from round 19 as the team lists drop at 3:55 p.m. All right, how good was this? Another $60,000 was added to the Sportsbet's Try July campaign. It takes the tally to $185,000 for the Mossy Masoi Foundation with 1 round to go. Sowie, you called on $1 million. We're not quite there, but we saw a great response on the weekend.
Yeah.
One final shout out to players.
Come on, boys, get involved. Make sure, and if you don't score the try, don't wreck it, okay? Don't be the pelican that jumps over the top. Let them celebrate. Let's get as much money as we can for Mossy Masoi.
A lot of time to practice in the bubble.
That's right. Well said. Keep the haircuts coming. Keep the post-try celebrations coming. Here were the best from Origin 3 and round 18.
Charged down by Billy Kickow, the big Fijian. Cracking the coconut, drinking the carver. I don't know what that's about, but it's a try celebration. Corey Allen with his own post-try celebration. He might have a job post-playing career. And then he does a little bit of swimming as well. Oh, yes. Nico Hines. It's the shoey into the dance. That had it all. What a moment for the young fella. That is just so good. And Remus Smith